Welcome to another episode of Talking with Kevin and Son and the People You Should Know. This episode is brought to you by RMK Productions and the 10 United Podcast Network. Our mission is very simple. Through the power of our stories, we want to uplift and share our voices, inspire and share experiences and perspectives using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is very simple, helping other people every single day. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have a very special guest. He is a mentor, he is a youth advocate, certified coach, entrepreneur, trainer, and a paid public speaker. Mr. Albert Jerome Moss is a teacher beyond the classroom, and he is the missing link between the ties that bind. Today, we're going to learn about Mr. Albert Moss and why he is the person that you should know. And not only will you learn the story of his Guys and Gals community partnership, and maybe if you stay around long enough, you hear the story behind his initiative of Hoop and Coops. From Akron, Ohio, our hometown legend and the home of our king, LeBron James, and this is a legend in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome my good friend, Mr. Albert Jerome Moss, to the show. Brother, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing. I can't complain. That my father just said I'm fair for a square.
Man, I'm going to tell you, you're so busy. Earlier when we spoke, you're coming out of a meeting. You're always giving back. And when I set up this show, I called a mutual friend of ours, and I said, every year we give back. We try to find a foundation that we need to showcase. We pick up the bill for all the production costs and everything else, and we need to tell your story. And when Willie told me about you, I said, I got to have this brother. I got to have him. And since then, we created a kinship, a brothership that will never die and will live on long after both of us are gone. So if you don't mind, for those of my listeners that are driving, that are sitting here listening and waiting to hear your story, give us a little background on, I know you as Jerome Moss, and now Albert Jerome Moss. Tell us about you. Grew up in Akron, Ohio, I think. I'm from Dayton, so.
Okay. Yes. So I grew up in Akron, Ohio. Akron, Ohio, North Side. I have to, let people know I'm from North Akron, Howard Street.
Right.
That's funny how we go back and forth. Now that we're older, it doesn't matter. But back when we're younger, it was all about the size of town. But my mom was one of the lead accounts for General Tire. We understand General Tire being one of the lead rubber companies. And then my father was an entrepreneur, ex-Marine, and a world-renowned hair designer, traveled all over the world as a platform artist doing hair. Women's men's hair. He's actually got his PhD. He was considered a doctorate at doing hair. Then I had a sister. I have an older sister who pretty much helped raise me. Was when you talk about a big sister, she was like an auntie big sister. She still is today. She's only 6 years older than me. She's always had an older soul. But growing up, I loved my community. Always had individuals that were giving back, was forced into sports, and sports became something I was good at. By the grace of God, I actually went off to school and was able to play basketball and football.
Where'd you play?
College. I first started off at a school called Geneva College in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and I finished playing at Malone University, which is in Canton, Ohio, with my undergrad in sport management. And again, me being an athlete, sports is what got me. I first wanted to be a sports agent or play in football in the NFL or basketball in the NBA or go overseas. We came up at a time, there was a lot of individuals that were very successful in ball coming out of Akron. And then, you had LeBron James who was coming up under us, but it was few individuals like Jerome Lane, and even before that, Gus Johnson and Nate Thurman, things of that nature. Individuals from our community were always doing well, and we always look at the sports of basketball and football. But when we look at, soccer, baseball, swimming, softball, it was people in Northeast Ohio, Akron realm that was always pro, doing something, doing this and another, and if not even playing, becoming a coach. So sports kept me out the street. even though we were always still in the street sports, those times I had to go to AAU practice, those times that I had to, do this extracurricular activity, do that extracurricular activity, I stayed engaged in sports. My parents kept me engaged in sport and other things. So when my other friends and my friends from the neighborhood didn't have those opportunities, I would say, or didn't want to have those opportunities. I'm not gonna say they didn't have them opportunities. They actually did. They decided to do other things, but my parents actually kind of forced me to do things, and I like doing them. So it transferred to me loving to do it. But that's a little bit about me. Growing up, humble beginnings. Wasn't the greatest kid. I did get kicked out of class. Did have to sit in the corner.
Uh,
Did
it
talk a lot.
sounds like you're reading a page out of my book.
Yeah, just have fun. My dad was the life of the party, so a lot of people say I kind of move off him. Uh, we're similar. We're similar. He's a little bit more than I was, active wise, from a historical standpoint. But that just humble beginnings. I learned from a lot of people. Had a lot of wonderful mentors, male and female. Had went through a lot of experience, seen a lot of stuff, things that was great, things that was terrible, that allowed me to shape not only my thoughts about life, but we were talking about growing up in the neighborhood, but then you also talk about going to a Protestant Christian school,
Right.
because I went to two Protestant Christian colleges and I played ball. I had, wonderful times of playing ball, here and there. You always have your ups and downs as a Black athlete, but at those Protestant schools, I thought I knew what prejudice was. Well, I knew what prejudice was. I didn't really know what racism was. Um, Not until I got to the schools, Protestant Christian schools. So that kind of just even moving from Akron to Beaver Falls and going to being eight. I graduated at 17. Because I graduated as a young man. So going into school, understanding, seeing what really institutionalized racism was. And I don't want to go too far because I know we got things to do, but it was a profound moment that I had at that first school, which one of my theologians, we was going through a whole bunch of things, some things that would be newsworthy right now. CNN, MSNBC moves, or that there's things that we went through, things that some of my teammates, my roommates, so we personally went through at that school. That when I spoke to one of the theologians about it, because I was upset and I wanted to know, if this was such a school for Christians, and I was a Baptist, and we all got the same God. I had a mindset that no, I think we serve two different gods, or y'all God is different from my God. At least y'all think that. And he told me something profound. Um, and this person who told me this profound, he was considered one of the radical evangelicals in the state of Pennsylvania. Like he was one of those individuals that the Black pastors and bishops looked up to. Like, or they was like, you dealing with him? Oh, he get to you straight. But he told me, he said, one of the reasons that I'm going through, that I'm reacting to some of the things
Well,
that I'm
let me go
reacting
before you
to.
go to that. Tell us what he told you.
Well, he told me that if I knew my history better than he had knew my history, he would see some of these things coming, and I'll be able to navigate these things. And it's like it wouldn't be you would be much better. So basically, it was telling me, even from a biblical standpoint, you know, to understand your history more. Know yourself. You think you know yourself. You don't know you. I know you better. I know your history better than you. He even broke down the Bible. I went to church. I often in church. And I had a pastor at the school, but even he broke it down to how to even read the scripture, especially the Old Testament, understanding where the Old Testament was and the New Testament from the Hebrew to the Greek, understanding how to read the Bible with a concordance, understanding my history as it relates to that specific text and what it meant, and then going in depth with the African spirituality. And this was at a Protestant Christian school. And that kind of really, I was always on a journey of doing me, but that kind of hit me and sent me on a whole other wave to other things. And that spun on me going finishing school. Then I end up doing a con-based African rights while I was going through graduate school. And that was a whole other turning point, a whole other paradigm shift. That he created a paradigm shift right there. But then that created the rites of passage created a whole nother paradigm shift for me and just kind of sent me to where, now we 13, 14 years later from the rights, and I'm here.
Who's the one you said you had a couple of mentors, and I personally know that no one reaches the level of success that you have alone. Someone has inspired you. I say all the time that life is about chances and choices. We take the chance and we make the choices and we live with the consequences of our action. Sometimes we have someone that sees our future much clearer than we do because we happen to live in a space that now is the only thing that matters. Who is that person that basically unlocked the door to your life, to your consciousness, that allowed you to be the person you are today? Who is that person?
Okay, outside of my father,
Okay.
which
Yes.
is a whole different person. I kind of, when these people say mentors, I say him, but it's like I don't like to say him. But it was two men. It was two men, right? So it was, for one, it was my quarterback coach,
His
James
name?
Shealy. James
All right.
Shealy. James Shealy. James Shealy was my quarterback coach. He was Pops. He was my second Pops. Everybody in the school called him Pops, and he considered me as one of his sons. So that was also special because he loved everybody, but he had everybody know he had certain individuals you couldn't do nothing to, nothing with. And since I was a freshman when I come in, he kind of grabbed me and was like, "No, you're gonna be with me." And all the seniors, kind of the vets, kind of came to me like, "Yeah, man, Pops told us to look out for you. So whatever we do, whatever you say, you better chill out because we got full autonomy to put our hands on you because of Pops. Because you wanted to, so that instantly coming in, it was like I was a freshman, thought I was this, I was under Pops. But no, he ended up becoming a councilman. He just showed me so much, and he was real. He was the first coach that really kicked me off a team. He literally kicked me off the track team as a sophomore and told me I could not run track for him no more. And I was like, why? He told me the only thing that was holding me back from going to the NFL as a 10th grade was my speed. And I said, so you're not going to let me run track? He said, no, you canceled to my track team. But you can play quarterback, but you can't run track. Go get a job. Go play baseball or something. You're good at baseball. But that stuck with me. He loved me. I mean, I could come to track practice, but I couldn't. Me out of all people, it was people did way worse, but I couldn't. And
See,
he just kept that thumb on me.
and
But
see, and
another guy,
that
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
all right. The reason why I want to hear that part of your story is
Mhm.
because today in our education system, we don't have pops anymore. We don't have that
Yeah.
coach. We don't have that coach that puts his chest out and sometimes handles you in a way that gets your attention. So you'll end up being like a Jerome Moss. We have taken the gift of what a true coach and what a mentor is, and we've handcuffed that extra level education that's called life experience. That
Mhm.
sometimes we have people that are educators that see our future a lot clearer than we do. We have
Mhm.
taken that away. We have children that show up to class, and because they have power, that they can get a teacher fired because all they had to do is say something that even it's true or not true, and they act on it, and all of a sudden you got a teacher without an income, without a life, and whatever, defending himself against a child. And our
Mhm.
system is set up to protect a child, but sometimes our system is protecting the wrong people. And we need to have those people back in the lives of our children. We need to have our educators in a position to give some tough love. I mean, right now, everyone gets a trophy.
Mhm.
And, to hear you say that you were cut from a team without your parents showing up and defending your position, you accepted it and you went to work. Let's talk about your next mentor.
So John Saucier, he was a white man, right? White man. Met him in the ninth grade. Uh, he's a spiritual guy. Team Jam was my AU coach, was my AU team name. Jesus Athletic Ministry. That's what Jam was. And John was, you could call on John at any time. I remember calling John on some crazy, I mean, whatever you need. It's so many people. He's the one that introduced me to what professional ball looks outside of professional ball. I remember a gentleman, I don't know if you remember Corey Fuller. He's a coach now. He played for the Browns. He played several
Yeah.
years in the NFL, went to Florida State, played with Dion. When he was with the Browns, my mentor, John Saucer, used to take us up to his house to have Bible studies. And when we first started, it was my junior year we started and moved into my senior year. But when we first started the Bible study, it was just me, Corey Fuller, his godfather, one of John's board members. So for the first couple of days, it was on Thursdays. For the first couple of Thursdays, it was once a month. It was just me and Corey Fuller, and it blew my mind to walk up and see a white Range Rover, a white Bentley, a white motorcycle, and a white Benz, all on white, on white, on white. And I'm looking at him like, these all your cars? He said, yeah, I'm looking to trade. And he talking about his bank account. He's showing me around the house. And we had in-depth conversations. And I'm saying, hold on. You just got beat for a touchdown this Sunday. People on your neck. And I'm in your house talking to you about life. You don't have nothing, like, it's just, this is something that you wanted to do. And before you know it, about a year later, we was bringing 20, 30, 35 individuals to the house, and he made me be the security guard of the house. And don't let none of them dudes up my stairs. So let them, but he introduced me to, and Canton, we had the Hall of Fame games and things of that nature. So we always went out, always seeing folks, and even in a part of our network of athletes among him. We have a lot of professional athletes amongst us now. I mean, we're talking about, I was 12, 13 when I met him, and I'm 41 now. And my network of friends, and my network of brothers and sisters professionally, whether they playing right now, where they've almost played, or where they were playing, or where they're coaching the collegiate level or training, is so massive. And he was one of the ones that introduced me to, I'm gonna say he introduced me to God, because he didn't introduce me to God, but he allowed me to understand how to use the power of God and use the power of my voice, right, through sports to be positive instead of negative. Because I kind of was like on both sides. So, and it was a white man, and still to this day, Mr. Shealy, Coach Shealy, passed away a few years ago. Matter of fact, Coach Lee passed away about a year ago, year and a half ago or so. But John is still. I mean, he still calls me. We still talk often, and he's a spiritual guidance for me. He's, as my early age, I have a lot of mentors moving forward, spiritual mentors, especially when I come out to rights. More Afrocentric thought, more Afrocentric spirituality. But when I look at, like, when at the beginning parts, what I could have went here, those two individuals really stood in the gap to help me. Matter of fact, my phone ring and I ain't gonna answer it, but one of the brothers that's calling me is a part of that relationship, right? My guy Matt Futch, who's doing a lot of things, and I actually used to coach Darren Peterson, who's the number one basketball player in the nation right now, 100 prep. So it's just interesting how we're talking, and one of my Team Jam colleagues is literally calling me saying, "Hey."
Well, I appreciate, one, you're not answering the phone, because that would just become an editing nightmare for me. But I appreciate you showing your backstory, sharing our backstory with you. Part of the reason I brought you on is because our young people need to see people like us that have come from challenging backgrounds and from the neighborhood, and how opportunity and how mentorship and being shown a better way led us to better choices. And now you are in a position with your foundation of doing the same thing that was given to you. My grandfather always said, and I'll repeat this at the end of the show, when you get to a place where you can help someone else, it is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one. And young brother Moss, you are doing just that. Let's talk about the mission you're on right now.
Okay. So the mission I'm on, honestly, is wholeheartedly is God first, the ancestors, family, then whatever. I'm trying to really stay in my lane and do what I do. Guys and gals, give you a historical context with Guys and Gals. Guys and Gals Community Partnership Incorporated is the name of my nonprofit organization that I founded uh, back in really 2016. But this January will be the sixth official year that it's been officially tax exempt 501c3. So but Guys and Gals, that name comes from my father's business. His hair business was called Guys and Gals International Hair Care Solutions. So that was part of that legacy. You know, that did very well. It was a lot of good energy in that. So I took that name. I took that name and kept it going. Um,
And what
hoping and
exactly
praying
does the
that.
foundation do? What
Okay, so
exactly does the foundation?
our mission is to promote the physical and psychological well-being of individuals and communities through holistic education and preventable health programming. Our aim from a holistic standpoint is to bring people from A to B to B to Z, wherever you at, to wherever you need to go with, and hopefully hoping that you don't have to go back, right? However that looks, right? It looks different from different individuals. It looks different from the youth. It looks different from the young adults. It looks different from adults, the nation builders like myself, and it looks different from the elders. So we're not focused on touching base with just one group of individuals. From a holistic standpoint, we're looking to be impactful to everyone, however we can. And so with that, one of the things that helped us spin into what we're doing, again, I have a bachelor's degree in sport management and I have a master's degree in sports science and coaching, sport administration. I coached on the collegiate level for 11 years, 7 as a head coach, women's basketball. So Hoop for Coop, you know, that's our signature program. Our Hoop for Coop Men's Health Fair is our signature program. And the Hoop for Coop is for a good friend of mine, a good friend of a lot of people in the community who passed away actually at one of the local YMCAs, had a heart attack on the floor playing ball. And if you'd looked at this dude, he's a specimen. I mean, he was one of the individuals that I worked out with when I was playing arena football. And so he worked out 5 or 6 times a week. He was in all types of men's leagues. You know, he was a close friend of ours, and playing ball died. Like playing game he loved. So we did an event for him. He was a childhood friend. We were junior ushers in church. We went on missions trips. We spent the night with each other, you know. And the significance of Coop and my father's, they had the same birthday, 10/10, October 10th. And they knew that, right? That was special too. But you know, Coop passed, and we had this one. First, we just had an event called the Hoop for Coop right before his funeral, and just to show love for him, you know, one of the homies who's fallen homies, but he ain't fall from violence, he, you know, from health. And people showed up. I mean, people loved Coop, you know, people loved what was going on. And we had no plans to do it again. But the community was like, man, y'all gotta do that again. Y'all gotta do it again. I had people calling me from out of town, like, when y'all do that again, I'm coming in. Everybody said that was nice. So the very next time we did it, we turned it into a health fair. So everybody that come play ball, got to go get a health screen. And we placed different parameters that individual had to do, because it was deeper than his death. It was now time to, you know, be aware of our health, but by doing that, we can do more, right? We didn't want to give the community everything that we was doing. Still to this day, we don't want to give you everything that we're doing, but when you get there, you're like, wow, like this it's bigger than basketball. You know, when you get here, there's so many tools to help, you know, not only our youth, but our adult men. And then from there, we created our youth event. But when we say we created health fairs, Kevin, I have been doing this. Me and my partner, me and my brothers, you know, we've been doing this for years, since we was in high school camps, giving back. It was pretty much our time. And we knew, because people were telling us it was our time. So lo and behold, we were doing these things and this happened, and we kind of jumped out there, and all of a sudden it just, the domino effect, it just, things started rolling. From the health fairs came to our seven week summer camp, our food pantry, our clothing pantry, different collaborative efforts, you know. Then it went from different leadership conferences, leadership different committees, board. It started to really snowball what we were doing. And then just, man, praise God, give God the glory for everything.
Yeah, and to our listeners, I want you to understand, um, there's a stigma about growing up in the neighborhood that is not true. The only thing is true is what we do when opportunity presents itself. When you see people like Albert, that through the game of sports, through the challenges of being educated and guided through mentors, this is how we make changes. Sometimes our children gets lost. I mean, I just spoke at a high school for the underserved when I was growing up, and we were talking about this earlier. We were just called poor kids, and now it's the underserved. But when I look into a room, that 90% of them are Asian Americans, Indian American, Hispanic Americans, and only 2 Black children that represented it. The ties that bind have changed, and I think the lack of leadership, lack of conversation, or lack of access to opportunity is lacking. And when you listen to an individual like, the gift that we have on the show today, Mr. Albert Jerome Moss, when, he's taken the loss of a good friend and changed that into a dream that provides opportunity, we need to applaud him. And I'm going to take 5 seconds right now to let people mentally applaud you for your efforts. And please give us Coop's full name. And once I start talking, give us, how do we get in touch with you?
Okay.
Go ahead.
So Kenyatta Dwayne Cooper. Kenyatta Dwayne Cooper was his full name. And to get in touch with me, I'll give you my number. 330-689-8816. I ain't ashamed. I got a few different phones. But my email address is GGCPINC7. That's Guys, Gals, Community Partnership Inc. GGCP Inc. 7 at gmail.com. And then also my website is ggcpinc.org. So that's how you can contact me, and reach out to me. Anything that I can do to assist, if I can, I will.
All right. Let me ask you, you've touched on some of the workshops. I know I think in the last conversation we had, there was over 700 people that participated in your last event, Hoops for Coops. You also have workshops that are there. When people get there, they're surprised. One of the things that stands out is something that's necessary, especially in our community, in the underserved communities, is that mental health. Why is that so important right now to our young people, old people, and elders?
Well, it's one specific word that resonates for me when you talk about mental health, that's trauma, right? You have to understand what that means, and you have to understand how that affects everybody. As an African American, as a Black, and then not just as a Black, but definitely as us, we have experienced trauma from the womb.
True.
Yeah, we have experienced trauma from the womb, right? Our families, our mothers, our fathers, our ancestors have experienced a trauma that has continued through the bloodline of African Americans since they have been in North America, right? So when we come up and when we're grown into this society, it's so normal for us to move and do, we don't realize some of the things that's going on because we're so sensitized to police brutality. We're so sensitized to a felon economic system, a felon education system, a felon home system. We're now from the 90s up, mass incarceration, right? Before that, Jim Crow, and it's so many events that has happened that shaped the minds of our ancestors, our grandparents, to our parents, to us, and out at our youth. So we're dealing in trauma every day. So from a mental health standpoint, it's understanding that where you are today has a large implication, or is largely based on what you went through, right? And how you're dealing with that, how you're coping with that. And then in the ways is how are you coping? You know, who are you? You know, are you who you say you are? Right? And are you who you ought to be? And why? You know, well, why do we have things like this? So that's why it's important, because we're not sitting down and we don't know who we are, right? Because of the things we go through, we're just fighting through. And sometimes we don't breathe. Sometimes we don't meditate. Sometimes we don't look back at ourselves and just relax and slow down, because we're so caught up in the busy cycle of life that we don't even recognize what trauma really is. So when you do understand it, you're able to not only heal yourself, right? You're able to heal other people, because if you don't heal yourself, you'll continue hurting other people.
True that. Hey, I couldn't have said that better myself. I'm glad you said it. You're an amazing young brother. I've got a couple of years on you. I could have changed your diapers. That's how many years I've got on you.
You look
But
good though. You still look good, man.
it is so refreshing for you to speak the truth. I mean, I've listened to many speakers, and they sugarcoat the fact because they are trying to protect a conversation that needs to be had. And it's a conversation that needs to be had. The reality of it is that our history itself has shades on, and we should be ashamed of the way that we have conducted ourselves as far as humanity. But going forward, when we have individuals like you, the history is what makes the future. And because we make better decisions, we provide better opportunities for the future. And you're doing just that with your program. What does your program need? How can
You
we
know
help
what?
you?
So we have a 7-week summer camp. Let me explain the 7-week summer camp. Our 7-week summer camp has 7 principles. All right, we really focus it on really the Kwanzaa principles, right? The Nguzo Saba. So the first, our 7 principles is unity. It goes unity, self-determination, collective worker responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. All 7, all week, every week it has a special topic, right? We have speakers that come in, we do field trips, a lot of critical thinking games, a lot of physical activity. It's not school, it's literally the old fashioned but modernized real summer camp. Right. We have meditation. So we're introducing these youth to trauma. The camp it's only 3 days. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We feed them breakfast. We feed them a hot, good lunch every day. I think that's the only reason why they come back, is because they eat some of the games they play. But it's some of it's some of the, I'm gonna say, dopest minds from ages 6 years old to 17. And usually I'm having about 35, 40. I would like to grow the camp. I would like to hire more of our great individuals in the area to come in to pour into these kids that's doing such great things. And I would love to grow. That's right now, that is what I want to keep going. That's everything that else that we're doing. I have a care coordination agency. That's something that I'm going to figure out. We're going to work out. We're going to continue to do that better, and that's going to be something that's going to be really, hopefully, a main sustainer for us. But that summer camp, that place where youth can come, that place where adults can come, because that summer camp is just not for the youth; it's for the adults. You know, man, we're trying to do things for the adults as well, their parents. That's pressing on my heart. I really want to continue that. I really want to get the funding to that, and be able to expand it. So that's good. Not only is helping the youth, but it's also giving some of these other individuals in the community that does great things with youth to come in to do those things, and I can actually pay them what they're worth, to do a job, to do what they love to do, and be able to highlight them so they can move on. Same thing like you're highlighting me right now, which is a blessing. I'm thankful. It's the same thing that I want to do through my programming. I can do a lot of stuff. I can do a lot of programming. I'm qualified, and I feel I can do it pretty good. That's being as humble as possible, but it's other people out there who can do dope things too. So by allowing me to help them to do that, it allows me to sit back and do other things and create other things, and so if that one ask would be, help me keep this summer camp going. Help me to find the funding. Help me to find good folks. Help me to find, my high school kids that were in the camp that now could come back and work the camp. My college kids who were in the camp that come back and now work the camp. Still feed the kids good, still do quality programming. At the end of the camp, we do a one-take trip camp. So we usually get a charter bus, real nice charter bus. A lot of kids ain't never been on a charter bus. And we had, like, the first year we went to Cincinnati for overnight hotel, nice 4-star hotel, took them to 3 or 4 different museums, fed them. The next day we went to Detroit to the next year we went to the Charles H. Wright Museum. The same type of concept, one big charter bus, nice, ride in style, ate good at different restaurants, visit a few new museums. These folk kids ain't never been out of Akron. This past year we switched it up. This past year we let the girls go to an Airbnb, do a spa day. We took the boys to the hotel and had the big homies and young homies come talk to them, show them love, and let them just have fun and loved on them. You know what I'm saying? So that's the things we do. Just straight help us with our summer camp. Help us to be able to provide something that is not only effective but impactful for not just the youth but just the whole family in a holistic way.
All right, and let me say this. I'm going to say it straightforward to local businesses in Akron, Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, Tennessee, you name it, 50 states. There are companies that take advantage, that profit from our community. It is now time for you to give back. Mr. Moss has asked you to help. You'll put in our neighborhoods, your supplies, and ask us to help you with yours. And we help you grow your business to multi-billion-dollar businesses. And here's a young man that's trying to turn the tables of not only what has happened to us historically, but he's trying to provide opportunities for other young men that look like us, that sound like us, that come from neighborhoods like us, to provide hope. When I say helping other people every day, it's time for you to give back. Become one of his sponsors. He's not asking you to give him a handout. He's asking you to give them a hand so they can go ahead and provide. Some of our greatest leaders, some of our greatest inventions, and some of our best stories that need to be told comes from these communities and these people that want to give back. It is not all death and destruction in our neighborhoods. There's a lot of gifted people. And so for the Walmarts, your bankers that's in your community, your stores, we sell chips to our children, whatever. We don't need more chips. We don't need more processed food. What we need is your sponsorship so we can provide books, education, and health to these individuals so we can become productive citizens. All we're asking for is opportunity. And all Mr. Moss is asking for is make his life a little easier so he's not having to kick in the door. Allow him to knock on the door and sit down at the table with you, and you ask him, how much do you need? I'm asking you, as my listeners, my followers, and I'm probably the only podcast that I know of. No one's ever stepped up and said anything different, so I'm going to say I'm the only one right now. I've had 4 individuals since the 2 years that I've been doing this, I'm starting my 3rd, that have picked up the phone and contacted one of my guests and made their ask come true. He's asking you to be a sponsor, to come to the event. I'm coming. All right. If you're a speaker, ex-ball player, ex-author, film producer, anyone that's doing something, CEO of a company, come and participate because our young people need to see a face that has success written all over it, and you're giving back. It's only taking a little bit of your time. Mr. Moss, I want to thank you for coming on our show, and hopefully I didn't monopolize at the end of it, but throughout your story, I wanted to ask you this. What do you want our listeners to take away from the conversation we just had?
Honestly, in the most humble way, Guys and Gals Community Partnership Incorporated is something that is in place just in Akron right now. We want to expand it, but not we want to collaborate with like-minded individuals. I was just in Philly, right? Learning about big picture learning schools. Just it's so many things going on in the world. There's so many good people, so many dope programs, there's so many people doing great things. I would love to connect with those individuals. I would love to learn from those individuals, learn best practices, collaborate, see how we could do things to better ourselves. I'm just inspired to do better every day personally. And then, I feel it's an obligation. I feel like I'm obligated to help my brother and my sister. We say, I'm my brother's, I'm my sister's keeper. I feel like I'm obligated. I believe the only reason why I'm here is because I was kept, right? And so it's only right for me to do what I'm doing, because if I do, that's the golden tenet of life, right? You reciprocity, you give and you gonna get. But and sometimes you're gonna get a little, sometimes you're gonna get a lot, but you're going to get. But it ain't about you getting, it's about you giving, right? He that has the most is asked for the most, and that's it. That's what I want them to get out of it. We not here trying to, everything that we do out of guys and gals is quality over quantity. It ain't about the numbers. It's about what we're doing, how we're doing it, when we're doing it. We're gonna do this. People say I'm gonna retire. And I tell people, I used to think about that. I'll slow down and help out. But the ancestors, they didn't retire.
No.
They didn't retire. They kept going. So I don't see myself retiring. When it's my day to go, I'm gonna smile, laugh, and go like I need to go. I guess I was gonna say. That's it. That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why when I say that, when you hear about LeBron James in Akron, Ohio, this is another legend in the making. I want to thank Mr. Willie McGee for the introduction. Not only have I been part of your journey, I've had in my life added a new friend, a new brother. And I'm going to say much love to you, the program. I will extend my chair anytime. I mean, anytime you need to promote anything you do, anything good happens to you, come out of it. If you happen to be a sponsor that is going to jump on this wagon and be part of something good, because there's good things that's going to come out of it, come on the show and talk about it. Because I will tell you, in this day and age, for our community, we're stop supporting people that don't support us. And advertising in this lifetime going forward has become personal. If you're not giving back, you're taking away from something. If you're taking away from something, you're eliminating an opportunity and hope for something to be something great. If you have greatness within you, show it by calling my brother Moss over here. Show it by supporting him, because action only rewards your opportunity. Life rewards action. So with that said, Mr. Albert Jerome Moss, I want to thank you for coming on to my show. And for those who are listening, I will tell you, education is not designed for you to be comfortable. These are facts. It's designed to make you think. And if I can touch your heart, I can change the way you think. And if this conversation has moved you to a position to where you want to act on it, then reach out to Brother Moss. How do we get in touch with you one more time before we sign off?
GGCP Inc7@gmail.com. You can leave me a message on my website, ggcpinc.org, or you can just give me a call, 330-689-8816. If you don't get me, leave a message or leave a text message too, because sometimes I can't answer.
And all his contact information will be released in the description of this podcast. I want to thank you 1,000 times over to my guest.
Evan, can I
Yeah,
say
you can say
something real
whatever you
quick?
want to. Go ahead.
So going back to Willie McGee, I have to give him a shout out too, right? We call him Chill Will, right? Because you called out to him, he not asked told you about me, but something about Willie. does great things in the community too. Actually, how I met Willie was through Brian. When we was younger, some of my closest individuals, we knew, we said Brian growing up, but Willie does great things in the community, and Willie has always been a part of our Hoop for Coop since day one. He's one of our committee members. He's a brother to me too. So, and like I said, this Saturday when we had our Christmas giveaway, he was there. So I wanted to give him a shout. I know you already did, but I wanted to thank Chill Will for his love and support for what we do too.
And I'm glad you said that. And most people, if you look at the documentary with LeBron James, you'll find out who Willie McGee is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, we've been blessed, and like I said, no one can do this one thing alone. And there's no superstar without a supporting cast, and that's the reason why we're grounded here on Earth in order to make heaven on Earth. I thank you. Love you, brother. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. And it takes a strong Black man to say to another man that I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm happy that your initiative, you're doing well, especially with the mental health and the health in general. I can gush all over you all day long. But
Thanks, bro.
the biggest thing is for my people that follow us, don't just subscribe or whatever the case may be. Act. Life reward action. Help my brother develop his program. And matter of fact, when is your big day for Hoops and Coops?
So our youth event will be April 6th. We're still looking at the time, date, and the time will be 11 to 3 for a youth event. But the adult event, our signature event, our big baby, and so the youth event will be our 5th annual youth event, but our adult event will be our 7th annual adult event. So the 7th annual, is going to be big, but that's June 1st. That's June 1st, and we're still looking at our venue, but the time frame is usually goes from like 11 a.m. to about 7 p.m. We usually have 7, 8, 9 games, competitive, good games from just community people. Man. Fun.
Well, I tell you this, I will make it a point June 1st to come to Akron. You're only 6 hours away from me, and I will speak free to your people. All right.
Okay.
Maybe bring a couple books with it. No problem. Okay. And with that said, I hate to end this show because we can talk about for another 2 hours. I want you back. So there's always a seat. And if you, my listeners, you have someone that we should know that's giving back to the community, that's what our show's all about. We're showcasing the unsung heroes, the people that you should know. And if you like what you've heard, go to RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page, subscribe and share this. If you are connected with any type of sponsor, be it bank, be it someone with a different brand, share this video and introduce my brother Jerome Moss to them via this video and ask them to reach out to them. Don't just sit on the sideline, get in the game. And with that said, my grandfather always said that when you get to a position, you can help someone else. It is your duty to do so. Reach one, teach one, and we'll fade to black. And we're out.